Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live's weekly roundup of organ recitals, which we have found for you this week. The best organ recitals we could dig up. Sometimes we come across some that we're not sure about or the quality, or we're not sure if they're actually happening. Sometimes they don't happen. But these were the 6 best that we have for you this week. We have something Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 on Friday, and 1 on Sunday as usual. So let's get right to them. First, let me give you a picture of all of the organists that are featured this week. There's Nathan Jeffery, is the first of them, who is with St. James Cathedral in Toronto. And then there's Thomas Hawkes at the Temple Church, London, Jan Liebermann at the Truto Cathedral in Cornwall, then the mighty Franz Danksagmüller at the Bergamo International Festival, Martin Green, Canon Martin Green at St. Paul's Episcopal Cathedral in San Diego, and Baptiste-Florian Marle-Ouvrard, with that great name, who's with the Église Saint-Eustache, playing on the orgue Saint-Eustache every Sunday, well, nearly every Sunday, often. Anyway, so let's take the first of these, St. James Cathedral, Nathan Jeffery. There's Nathan Jeffery here. Look, we have 3 young guys for you this week: Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. All right, Nathan Jeffery is. He is the new associate organist at St. James in Toronto. I can tell you a little bit about the organ. I cannot tell you much more than that. We do not know what Nathan is going to be playing. They don't provide the program in advance. I can tell you a little bit about the organ at this church from my notes. I don't know these things by heart, guys. I am, full disclosure, I'm not an organist specialist, but I'm learning more and more about them. What I am a specialist in is all of the performing arts and performing arts live streaming. And we do this service separately because there are so many live streams of organs going on, and because we know that there are a number of groups of organ lovers, particularly on Facebook, that we can send this information to. And we invite you all to become followers on YouTube or on Facebook. We'd really like it on YouTube because we're trying to build up our subscribers there, so that you automatically get all of the notices we put out, because we'll put them out all week long when we think something interesting is happening, including especially interesting organ recitals. So the organ at St. James Cathedral is an S.R. Warren 4-manual organ dating from 1863. It has 87 ranks, 67 speaking stops over 4 manuals, and 6 divisions, with a total of about 5,101 pipes, rebuilt by Cassavant Frères in 1936, additions to it in 1976 by Phelps and Associates, and in 1999 and 2000 again by Andrew Mead, and a movable console was installed by J.W. Walker and Sons in 1979. So it's had a lot of work done on it, and well, if you tune in, you'll find out what it sounds like. The next person up is Thomas Hawkes, and here's an individual. These are young guys, you know, and you can tell they're pleased. Most of them started, their bios tell you they started playing the organ when they were like 5 years old. So Thomas Hawkes, we don't have a program from him yet. The organ is a Harrison & Harrison limited organ, built and installed in 1954. It includes, it's a 4-manual organ, including 3 32-foot stops. If you know about organs, then you know what that means. It means it has extremely low range. It's modeled on drawings of the temple churches original Father Smith organ going back to 1688. But the history of it, we'll give you a link to the history of their organs because it goes all the way back to 1307 and includes separate section on the Battle of the Organs when there was a competition as to who was going to build the organ. And as for Thomas Hawks himself, he's German born, and he first started learning to play the organ as a kid from Jonathan Lilly at Ely Cathedral. And we told you about the Ely Cathedral does a lot of live streams in the summer. In fact, we were telling you about them every week, and it's a magnificent organ there. Then he went to University of York, and from which he graduated in 2017. We did further studies at the Hochschule für Musik in Freiburg in Germany. And he's now an organist at the Stowe School in Buckinghamshire. He's also been on staff at St. Edmundsbury Cathedral and St. David's Cathedral. He's also a choir conductor and accompanist with different choruses, the University of York Choir, the Freiburg and Munster Choir. Now that, I think I didn't even give you the time for the first recital. St. James Cathedral, Toronto, with Nathan Jeffery is Tuesday, today, 8th of October, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 10 in the morning on the West Coast, and 7 in the evening in Europe. So you all have time. You have 5 hours time before it's on if you're thinking of making time to hear it out. The Temple Church Concert, that's in Toronto. The Temple Church Concert is back over here on the European side. It's at 1:15. It's lunchtime concert, UK time, which is 2:15 in Europe, 8:15 in the morning on the East Coast, 5:15 in the morning on the West Coast. I'd be surprised if you're that devoted to it, you get up that early, or 10:15 in the evening towards the end of the day in Australia, down under. So, but we don't know what they're playing at either of these. Then we move on to Truro Cathedral on Thursday, which is a Father Willis organ, which was built in London, and then they had to put it on a boat to send it up to Cornwall, which is where the Truro Cathedral is. It's very similar, they tell us, to the organ that was installed at the church which became Coventry Cathedral. Jan Liebermann will be playing a number of pieces by composers that don't immediately jump to my mind, at least the first three. Alfred Hollands' Concert Overture No. 2 in C minor. That's Samuel Sebastian Wesley, Larghetto in F sharp minor. Zsolt Gardonyi, Homage to Marcel Dupré. That's a 20th century piece. I think Zsolt Gardonyi was born in 1946. He's still around, but he's up there. He's almost as old as my oldest sister. Then he'll be playing the Chant de Paix, the Song of Peace, from the 9 pièces, the 9 pieces by Jean Langlais. And he will finish off, coming back to the subject of Marcel Dupré, with 3 preludes and fugues by Marcel Dupré, Opus 7, preludes and fugues in B major, F minor, and G minor. As for Jan Liebermann himself, I'm so sloppy on this. I forget to take things down. I put them up. Here's the photo of Jan Liebermann, another young guy. I mean, these guys are all, they're very young, playing these very old, enormous instruments, which I think is a lot of fun. Anyway, who is Jan Liebermann? He too seems to be of German origin. Went to the Young Academy of the Hochschule für Musik in Bad in Frankfurt am Main, and he's still studying now. He's studying in the pre-college program of the Mainz University of Music. He's won first or second prizes at organ competitions already in Northern Ireland, in Wuppertal, in Deidesheim, and in Moscow. He's played at lots of cathedrals: Freiburg Cathedral, Essen, Stiftskirche in Stuttgart. So a lot of German cathedrals. And in spring of his big claim to fame, I guess, is in spring this year, he performed all 6 of Bach's trio sonatas from memory at several public concerts. So that's Thursday night. And then we really come to what is the showpiece of this week, the continuing Bergamo International Organ Festival, which is an improvisational festival, above all, something that people often forget. And it's Franz Danksagmüller who's playing there on Friday night. He's playing on a Sarasi number 659 organ, which was restored in 1991. It has 270 note original keyboards going from C1 to A5, 70 real sounds, chromatic counter octave, divided stops, bass, soprano from B2 to C3, 24 notes pedal board to go with it. And Frank is you could I show him there with the guy playing the saxophone because Frank does everything with everybody. His concert will be first part is called Puccini Reloaded, and he'll be doing improvisations on themes by Giacomo Puccini, because this is the 100th centenary of Puccini's death this year. And then he'll be doing improvisations on themes given by the audience, which a number of the organists who are playing at this festival are doing on these Friday night concerts. And then in the second half, he'll be doing improvisations with live electronics. This is a guy who studied in organ composition and electronic music in Vienna, Linz, Saarbrücken, and Paris. He studied with people like Michael Radulescu, Daniel Roth, Eric Urbaner, and Karl Heinz. He's received awards from the Australian Federal Ministry of Science and Research for things that he does with music and electronics. He's worked with bass baritone Klaus Mertens, with the composer creator of the Kima software. He's worked with John Malkovich on the theater piece Just Call Me God. He's put together things, composed things using the organ and other things. I give you several of them. Buxtehude 21, and that's with that saxophonist that you saw in the picture. And another one called Sounding Science, which is multiple compositions based on scientific, mathematical, and demographic data. And then a piece called Broken Bach, which is a live remix of Baroque music for organ and live electronics. I mean, the list goes on and on. He's currently professor of organ and improvisation at the Musikhochschule in Lübeck, and a visiting professor at the Xi'an Conservatory in China, and a visiting professor at the Royal Academy of Music in London. Show up or blow up. This one is at 9 o'clock European time, which will make it 3 o'clock on the East Coast and noon on the West Coast. The guy's a phenomenon. Now, at 10 o'clock in the evening in Europe, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock on the East Coast, and 1 o'clock on the West Coast, that is before Franz will have finished his recital, Canon Martin Green will be doing the weekly live stream of an organ recital at St. Paul's Episcopal Cathedral in San Diego. And I'm telling you, he does really interesting concerts, recitals where he will mix in both American composers and European composers, and the guy has an encyclopedic knowledge of the organ repertoire. He's it's Canon Martin Green. He's a how shall I put this? He's a San Diego a person. He spent his whole life there, but he's worked with conductors like John Rutter and David Wilcox. He's appeared and he's played at other churches from throughout the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. He's had awards from the American Guild of Organists. He's appeared on NPR's Pipe Dreams Live. He's taught 18th century counterpoint. and he's involved in as a musician in the Baroque Music Festival since 1994. So and he always puts together interesting concerts. However, they almost never reveal the details, or they never reveal the full program in advance. But sometimes they'll give you a list of what he's playing. So check back with us. We do on Fridays. We do our weekend roundup, or weekend update, we call it. And in that, I give you more details, especially about the weekend live streams, including the organ recitals. And by then, I may be able to tell you what he's playing, but it's worth, during the intermission of Franz's concert at Bergamo, it's worth it to check out what it is that Canon Martin Green is playing. And then we finish up the week. Oh, I didn't give you the picture of Canon Martin Green. Anyway, or the picture of Franz, Danksagmüller. There he is. There he is for the guy. You don't have this on Instagram, because Instagram doesn't play with the other kids well. Anyway, so that's Franz Danksagmüller, and we finish. I don't have the picture of Canon Green, but it's just a guy hanging out in a sweater. But we finish up the week on Sunday with, geez, this has gone too long. I've become too chatty, with Baptiste-Florian, Marle-Ouvrard and there he is lolling around on the organ at St. Eustache Church. He'll be playing Bach's Sonata on trio number 3, and Bach's Chaconne in D minor in the Henri Messer transcription. I usually don't, and that's the largest pipe organ in France. So I usually don't tell you much about Baptiste-Florian Marle-Ouvrard, because he plays so often and we've talked about him so often. But since it's been a while, he studied at the Paris Conservatory under people like Thurs, Eustache, perhaps the greatest organist composer alive in our time. He works with the French Cinémathèque, playing organ for silent films. He has worked with ballet companies, putting together pieces for performances at various festivals. To put it bluntly, he's a showman. And he became the organist at St. Eustache Church by winning a competition back in 2015. So he beat out everybody else in France who wanted that position. The organ itself is a Van den Leuven organ, which they're trying to get renovated. They've been trying to raise funding both online and from the city of Paris to get that done. They've had trouble with their organs. In 1980, they had a competition to build a new organ, and a company came in and won the competition, designed and built the organ, and it didn't work out. And within a few years' time, they were looking for bids on a new organ builder, and the Van den Leuven people from Holland came in, and they did a good job. But that was 25 years ago, and they need to upgrade it now. I mean, if you listen to their organ and then you go over to Saint-Sulpice in Paris and listen to the Cavaille-École Saint-Sulpice organ, I mean, the difference is day and night. It's just, the Saint-Sulpice, the Cavaille-École organ is just stupendous. Anyway, I've gone on too long. I've become much too chatty. But maybe if you love organs, you don't mind hearing somebody chat about it, because I don't know how often somebody does that. Anyway, subscribe to us on YouTube if you like these at all. Repost this to your friends who love organ recitals. We are going to repost it to all the organ-loving groups that we know of on Facebook, but you won't necessarily see it. And you won't necessarily see the next one unless you subscribe to us. And the best place to subscribe is on YouTube. I hope you enjoy one or more of these live streams whenever they are on YouTube. The links will show you when they're on YouTube. Check into the comment section, because Access Arts Live is liable to be there, and we'd love it if you would say hello to us and let us know that we were the ones who brought you there. Ciao for now, and have a great organ-loving week.